everyone, and welcome to the Strength and Hormones podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Papanos, and today I am joined by an expert who is going to be telling us all things about sauna and really providing us with a guide to all of your questions that you guys might have about the benefits of sauna. If you know me, you know that I'm a huge sauna fan. So we're going to get into benefits, some protocols, and then we also have an exciting giveaway and discount code for you. So make sure that you stay tuned all the way to the end of the episode to learn more about that. But I want to welcome in today's guest. Our guest today is Phil Wilson, who is the founder of Relax Sauna. Well, tell us just a little bit about yourself and how Relax Sauna came to be.
I have a degree in mathematics, and I got waylaid because I had an out-of-body experience in 1970, and in 1971, I had an energetic spinal experience that changed my whole body chemistry. So I was forced into fasting a lot and having a very pure diet. I think, living on dates, cashews, and figs for 80% of my diet back for about 9 months. And then I've slowly gotten back into getting my body where I can eat almost any food I want. I still do not do refined sugar hardly at all, or white flour and stuff like that. But anyway, I opened up a health food store in 1980, and I started selling Chinese herbal formulas in 84. And I said, wow, you can have a sauna in your home? I couldn't believe it, because ever since I was 16 and the first time I tried a sauna, I've been in love with saunas. I mean, I just feel invigorated. And these are, usually the Finnish saunas back then, that's all they had. It wasn't until probably the 90s that far infrared saunas came into vogue. Saunas are becoming popular, but there's so much misinformation out there, and people don't understand that saunas can come in doses. They're all different, just like all vitamin C supplements. You find there's a lot of differences, and people, they just never thought. They think all saunas are alike. That's like saying all cars are alike. But, that's part of the education process.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And there are a lot of differences. And that's one of the reasons why we brought you on today, is to talk about some of those differences. So I want to just start off with some historical reference, because I think that a lot of other countries have been, and cultures have been, using sauna and, different types of heat treatments for centuries. And I do think they're having this resurgence, probably more in the States in recent years, with more of the science and literature that's come out about the benefits of sauna. But for example, the country Finland, they've been using saunas for centuries. And I would love to know just what did they know all along about the benefits of sauna that we are just now starting to understand and learn about the benefits?
Well, there's a great book out. I'm not sure if it's still, but from Dr. Bill Akpinar. He was an acupuncturist, a Chinese medical doctor, a medical doctor in the States, and a Qigong master. And he wrote the book, No Sweat, No Sweat. That's N-O, sweat, K-N-O-W, sweat. Mm-hmm. So once you know sweat as your teacher and your healer, then life is no sweat. And it's pretty much a good history of saunas, from the Turkish baths, the Grecian, the Roman, baths, the Finnish saunas, the Amazon Indians had saunas, the sweat lodges, the American Indians. Every culture has had some way to warm the body. As a matter of fact, I talked to a doctor at a cancer conference that we were at in Jacksonville a few months ago, and he's from Germany. He wrote a book about a lot of things, and he talks a lot about saunas and the benefits from them. And he says, and see, Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, has a lot of famous quotes, and one of them is, "Find me a way to create fever and sweat, and I will cure disease." Now that's very potent. He's saying, all I got to do is increase your body temperature to give you a fever, and no matter what disease you have, I can cure you. So the author of the book, the German doctor who wrote the book, he said that the physicians in Grecian times were called, if you look at the derivative of the word, they were called warmers, that their purpose was to warm the body. When you increase body temperature, and especially in the relaxed sauna, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. and that gets you out of time. When you activate the parasympathetic nervous system and you get into the now, there's no pain and your body can be healed. And that's also what happens. It activates the mitochondria to create ATP and nitric oxide. So you're getting pure, genuine energy, not caffeine, neurotic energy.
Yeah.
It's like it's coming from being connected to source.
I appreciate that history lesson there. That's really fascinating, and I also truly agree with all those points. And I mean, I've been using sauna for a couple of years pretty religiously, and I've seen a dramatic improvement to the nervous system state, being able to get better quality sleep. Also other improvements as I've gone through different like detox things. Like I had mold illness a couple of years ago and things of that sort. And I use sauna to be able to help with that. So I think that there's a ton of benefits, and that a lot of people have mitochondrial dysfunction, and really it's at the crux of so many chronic health conditions. And unfortunately, a lot of people they're not treated from a mitochondrial perspective. But the mitochondria play such a big role in everything, in autoimmunity and inflammatory diseases, you name it. And mitochondrial dysfunction plays a role. So I'd love to, yeah, talk about the mitochondrial piece a little bit more. But before we do, maybe you can just start and give us a bit of an overview as to what are some of the overall general benefits of sauna. You mentioned mitochondria, you mentioned nervous system. What else can the sauna do for us?
So besides detoxifying you, okay, number one, you're going to mobilize the lymphatic system. Number two, you're going to increase microcirculation. Number three, you're going to oxygenate the body. Number four, you're going to activate the parasympathetic. And number five, you're going to activate the mitochondria to create ATP and nitric oxide. The circulation will also, increasing circulation will always lower blood pressure, always.
Okay, awesome. So what if someone though feels worse when they sauna? So, for example, there's a lot of individuals that may be dealing with complex health challenges that are dealing with mitochondrial dysfunction, and because when you sauna, the heat stress forces more ATP use. Sometimes people feel extremely depleted when they get done with sauna, and it doesn't work really well for them. Is there a reason as to why this can occur, or do you find that it differs based off of if it's far infrared or if it's a different type of sauna?
Well, there is a difference between full spectrum infrared and far infrared, because it's Dr. Sherry Rogers points out that the 7 to 14 range, or the 4 to 14 micron range, is the special frequency. And so, every sauna is different, and you can, when you're looking at a sauna, find out how much of the frequency is that, because if you have a preponderance of the far infrared between 4 and 14, you're not going to be depleted as much. You're not going to, because the near infrared, for example, penetrates 1 to 2 millimeters, and the far infrared penetrates about 40 to 50 millimeters, between 1 3/4 and 2 inches. And so but we do have the situation with like Herxheimer effect for people with Lyme disease, where their bodies are cleansing, and there's so much gunk and junk and stuff in the body that doesn't belong there, that they have too much die off and too much being detoxified. I've had people that, after 5 to 7 minutes, they have to get out because they're starting to experience that. So there is the Herxheimer effect. It's rare, but especially in Lyme disease people. So sometimes you want to gradually grow into it by only doing it for 5 minutes, and you're fine. Then you do it for 10 minutes. And you do want to drink water, because one of the main dangers, quote danger, not real danger, but you don't want to get dehydrated, because if you're going to be sweating like crazy, you want to, and also you want to replace your electrolytes as well. So you want to take a good mineral supplement, or you can take the trace minerals. There's many companies out there, but that's important, so you don't feel depleted or you don't have leg cramps, because sometimes that's a side effect. But the benefits, so many athletes, they find that the far infrared saunas give them performance, much better performance. For example, you get into, we've done many shows, and people will get into the sauna and they'll jump before, and they'll reach a certain point, and then after being in, they'll jump again, and they'll be able to 2, 3, 5 inches more they can jump. So saunas, infrared saunas, have an incredible reputation for helping people, all of them, every single one of them, for greater performance and recovery as well from injury, and getting you healthy so you're going to prevent injury. That's one of the greatest benefits of saunas.
Sure. Okay. And you've mentioned a little bit about the differences between an infrared sauna, far infrared, and then like a traditional dry sauna. Could you tell us a little bit more about what are the differences and which one is best? I think that a lot of people feel a bit confused about this, especially
Yes.
if they're wanting to invest in a sauna. They want to make sure they're investing in the right one that's going to be the most efficacious. So, what should we be looking for when we're looking into saunas?
Okay. I used to sell full spectrum light bulbs compared to the orange. When you look from an airplane, all the lights are orange. But Dr. John Ott wrote a book and saying those are not balanced. You want the whole spectrum, and those are healthy lights. And like you've probably heard of sad lights or happy lights, and that's a full spectrum light bulb. So when people started promoting near infrared as like the la creme de la creme, and then people said, oh, we want near infrared, and then they called it full spectrum. And it's sort of like just a marketing ploy, like there's a guy, Matt Justice. He has hundreds of videos on YouTube, and he says the more far infrared you have, the better your sauna is. In other words, when you talk about a full spectrum sauna, you're admitting that you don't have the technology to give you only the far infrared that resonates with you, because that's the only wavelength that's been proven to really resonate with the water molecule, because it's the same energy as us. If it's the same energy, we don't resist it. And it just comes right in, and it's absorbed and penetrated like when you go out into the sun. But the other energies, they don't match. So they don't really do anything to get the water molecules to pulsate. So and when all the water molecules vibrate, that's the purpose of a far infrared sauna, is to get the water molecules to vibrate and spin. And according to a physicist, she told me that increases the voltage of the cell. That's what increases the body temperature. It's like 100 people in a small room dancing, all the water molecules in your body pulsating. It's going to increase the temperature in that room. And so what you want to do, again, you want to increase heart rate variability. That's what all the research talks about. And you want to increase the body temperature. And it doesn't matter what the temperature is inside. As a matter of fact, the Mayo Clinic says that their heart patients should not use Finnish saunas. They should not use hot tubs. They need to use far infrared saunas, because that's going to raise the body temperature. And therefore, the heart doesn't have to race to find an equilibrium between the inside temperature of the body and the outside. If you just increase the outside body temperature, like in a hot tub or in a Finnish sauna, then they say that's not healthy for heart patients. But far infrared saunas are, and they mentioned this in 2004.
So are you saying that far infrared saunas typically don't get quite as hot as a traditional sauna, as a dry sauna?
No, what I'm saying is that the goal is to increase the body temperature, and the body temperature will increase far more with far infrared saunas and more with infrared saunas. And the Finnish saunas really do not increase body temperature very much, from what I understand.
Yeah, I see. Okay. So they're hot on the outside, like the ambient temperature is hotter, but the internal temperature of the body isn't quite as hot. Is that correct?
Yeah, like people with Lyme disease can go off and sweat all the time, but it doesn't help with their symptoms of Lyme. But if you go into a far infrared sauna and your body temperature increases, the symptoms you have dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's increasing the body temperature. That's the secret. In other words, we're going to make Hippocrates happy. Find me a way to give me a fever. And when I was a kid, 11, 12, I'd wake up on the third day of a flu, totally soaked in bed and feeling incredible. And I've shared that with many others who also, I don't know, probably you too. You wake up totally sweated and you feel great, because and see, fever is a good thing. You don't want to, I mean, there's a hospital in Germany they have a way to get the temperature up to 104, 105, and it kills everything. And when they get up to 107, 108, it'll kill the human body. So they make sure they have sophisticated equipment that doesn't let it get that hot.
For the sauna, you're saying?
Yes.
Got
Yeah. See, when you oxygenate the body, and that part of what far infrared saunas do, they get rid of inflammation and pain. Amazing. It penetrates 2 inches and decreases the blood pressure and oxygenates the body. And that's really important, because when you oxygenate the body, you'll kill the anaerobic bacteria and even parasites.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. So it sounds like then what we want to be looking for is far infrared for when someone's purchasing a sauna. Is that correct?
That's my experience in the last 21 years, and many other people are saying this also. And so, there was a man promoting near infrared about 10, 15 years ago, and then the full spectrum infrared came into vogue. But again, curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric. And so if you buy a turmeric product, the more curcumin you have in it, the more effective, the stronger the product is going to be, and the more it's going to relieve the pain.
Okay. Okay. So there's benefits of the heat shock proteins that you can get from infrared as well as from finished saunas. And the benefits of these heat shock proteins are coming from the heat, I'm assuming, not from the light. Is that correct?
Well, it's the light in the body that causes the heat in the body, but they are created when your body temperature increases, and that causes the heat shock protein. And again, you want to increase the body temperature. That's sort of like the secret.
Sure. Okay. And I know that you also make lamps and that those are an alternative option to the sauna. Can you talk a little bit to the differences between the table lamp, the far infrared table lamp versus the far infrared sauna?
Well, the lamps offer local heat. Local, for example, if you hold the lamp up to your a toothache, in 5 to 10 minutes, you can get the toothache from a 7 to 1 all the time. A lot of times, by the far infrared, being in there all the time. We had a lady who was burned by she went to a dentist, and they did some kind of surgery, and they burnt her tongue with a laser, and she had a pain of a 9. And then we were at a booth, and I said, well, just put the lamp on her, just do this, for 5 or 10 minutes. And I said, come and borrow it every, 3 or 4 times. She borrowed it once and brought it back, and then she never came back. And I said, gee, and it turned out it's been 2 years. She hasn't had any pain since. The motivation was from Japan, where a Japanese company said to the Taiwan company that makes the relaxed sauna, they said, can you create an energy like at the hot springs in southern Japan, or Lourdes in France, where people go and there's magical healing energy? That's far infrared energy. And somehow they were able to break Planck's law and create it. It took them 10 years, but they created an energy that does this. And that's what we're talking about. It's a very red light is a wonderful therapy. And I've seen a lot of times the sauna cannot get rid of pain. Sometimes it does. And sometimes the red light does. And sometimes the red light doesn't, and the sauna does. So it's wonderful. And I've seen with my own eyes people's pain go away with red light, just like I've seen people's pains go away with far infrared saunas. The red light is an energy, but again, the purpose of a far infrared sauna is to increase the body temperature and give you the fever. And so they're both good, and they work very well together. But red light is magical, and it's wonderful. But again, it's getting a lot of hype. And frankly, I think the far infrared saunas are unequal to it, at least.
And what's the differences though in how they work?
Red light goes in, and again, it's vibration. And the blue light has a different effect. The purple light, there's a company that I know of, one of the principal owners of the company is in Las Vegas. They have a green light, they have a purple light, and they have a red light. And they all have different properties. So color therapy, there's a whole lot on color therapy, what the certain colors can do for your body, because it's a vibration. and they all have a meaning. I mean, blue usually calms you, green is for healing, orange is for energy, and the red light has a lot of special effects as well.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Relax Saunas, where individuals can learn more, and I'll also be sharing with them some of the details of the giveaway that we're doing and the discount code that we have for them, which is going to be for the infrared table lamp for the giveaway, and then I believe the discount code will be active for the saunas as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, there'll be, one discount for the saunas and one discount code for the lamp. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And then tell us a little bit more about some of the different products that you guys make.
Well, the first product that was created, it took the Relax Sauna company from 1987 to 1997 to create the little lamp. And then they put it in a bed, and it was like a far infrared bed. And then they have the lamp by itself. And then they finally decided to put 4 times the power times 2 radiators in the. So for example, in the Relax Sauna tent that you see below me, within about half a second, it's a light box. And snakes can see infrared light, but we humans can't. But the light is bouncing back and forth, and you're absorbing the penetration from every nook and cranny of the tent. So people love the fact that they're getting an even distribution of the healing light. People love the fact that there's no preheating, that it heats up in 30 seconds. So if you have chills or you're having an asthma attack, within 2-3 minutes, you're going to be, almost totally healed or better, remarkably, because it's instant on. Also, the Relax Sauna is portable. It's the only portable sauna that you can actually put on an airplane and not be charged $150 oversized fee. It fits in a carrying case. You can leave the chair at home and you can just put it on, bring it as a carry-on, or you can get a 28-inch by 21-inch suitcase and put the chair in, and the whole thing fits in a suitcase. So people love the convenience of it.
Wonderful. And last question for you, and I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, but I just came to mind as you were talking. I had a follower on Instagram once ask me if someone's not able to sweat. I'm not sure the reason why, if it's something genetic, or if they just don't sweat well because they don't have great sweat mechanisms. But if someone's not able to sweat, can they still get all of these benefits that you're mentioning?
Yes, Dr. Bilica has a clinic in Colorado. He used to be a medical director for NASA for 10 years. And he told me about 5 years ago, he's been promoting the Relax Sauna for about 15 years. He said that when his patients finally start sweating, there's a remarkable difference in their healing journey. But a lot of people get the sauna, and they don't sweat. But if they continue to use it, something magical happens and there's a breakthrough. That's what you want. You want the breakthrough, because there's tons of resistance. And again, when you see what the far-infrared saunas do that other therapies can't do, it gives you the oomph. It gives you the oomph to finally, like if you're doing a detoxification diet, and it circles, it's like musical chairs. And if you doing a far-infrared sauna, it gives you the oomph to actually get it out of the body. See, the therapeutic value of getting the body temperature to increase. You have more therapy. The more far-infrared ray, the more therapeutic value you're going to have, the more heart rate variability. Heart rate variability is when the heart can handle anything that happens at it. Yeah.
Yeah, we just earlier this season, we had an episode on heart rate variability. So for anyone that's listening that isn't familiar with heart rate variability, go back and listen to that episode, because we talk about that. And I'll definitely do a future episode on the lymphatic system too, because I think you bring up a good point. And I talk a lot about that with our patients. It's just how important supporting the lymphatic system is whenever you are trying to get rid of anything that shouldn't be in the body, right? Because that's really our sewage system for waste. Is through that lymphatic system. So thank you for providing that reminder and insight into the benefits that the infrared sauna has on lymphatic support.
One lady, she has as a profession, she does lymph drainage, and she worked for an acupuncturist, and they got one of our saunas and they put it in the room, and she says she gets twice the results if they go in 5 to 7 minutes before. Same with massage therapists.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Phil. I really appreciate your time today. We'll put the details for how to learn more about relaxed saunas in the show description below, and then also the discount codes as well, so that listeners can take advantage.